In Burkina Faso's Sahel region, Sibiri Kebre waits for rain. It's not a new story in this semi-arid part of West Africa, often plagued by drought. But according to local farmers here, weather patterns are changing.
The weather is changing and we're worried. Every day we must think about how we will survive. It affects our lives. It affects the environment. Trees are disappearing and there's a loss of soil fertility. So it's a big problem.
And scientists predict it will only get worse. Not only will farmers have to grow their sorghum and millet with less rainfall, but they'll also have to deal with greater variability of water flow.
Greater variability means that you might get 20–25% of the entire annual rainfall in one afternoon. So everything that you've planted is washed away.
With just one growing season and little more than 500 millimeters of rainfall per year, changes like this can spell disaster, as Kebre knows from experience.
10 years ago, there was drought and serious famine. I had to sell everything I had, including my donkey cart, in order to buy food for the family.
To help farmers like Kebre adapt to climate changes, the UN's International Fund for Agricultural Development, or IFAD, has supported a number of projects that work together with farmers to develop soil and water retention techniques, like these half-moon-shaped pits. When the rain comes, they hold moisture more efficiently, and the manure added to the bottom increases soil fertility.
The real impact has been in the moisture retained in the soil, which means we are able to grow more crops. With the increased production, we are much more food self-sufficient.
Digging circular planting pits and building stone walls that prevent water runoff are part of the strategy. But the biggest payoff may come from planting trees. Tossing the cuttings from young bagana trees over a field improves the soil's nutrients for growing crops. But these trees also provide food for animals and people. Even more importantly, a compound released by leaves into the atmosphere actually stimulates the formation of clouds and rainfall. IFAD says up to 300,000 hectares of land in Burkina Faso have been recovered using these techniques, which is not only helping farmers adapt to climate changes, but increase their harvests.
On average, the harvest was 300 to 400 kilograms per hectare, or 600 kilograms at best. Today, with these techniques, production has been raised to 1,400 and 1,500 kilograms per hectare. So you see the difference. It's more than doubled.
From one of the few high spots near the town of Yako, it's evident what kind of impact farmers are having on greening the landscape. Yet farmers and scientists agree there's no room for complacency. It's predicted rainfall here will continue to decrease from 500 to around 310 millimeters per year. And as it does, these techniques will become even more crucial, says IFAD's Cristiana Sparaccino.
Without these techniques, we wouldn't be able to harvest the Sahel, and we wouldn't be able to produce enough to eat for the farmers and for the populations of Burkina Faso. And this is the way we need to go if we want to have self-sufficiency in agriculture production in the countries of the Sahel.
In the meantime, when the rain finally comes this year, farmers like Kebre will be ready.
Here at the World Food Program, we like to say that hunger is the world's greatest solvable problem. And one of the most important things that we can do is to dispel some of the myths that occur, things that you hear about in the media and other places, about what happens in places where there's hunger. We're in Port-au-Prince, Haiti today, and many times in the media you hear that whenever there's a natural disaster or food prices go up, that Haitians are so hungry that they're willing to eat cakes made out of mud. Well, it is true that they eat mud cakes, but for other reasons. And Leslie, can you explain to us why people would eat these cakes here?
Okay, listen, man. This cake, they call it in Haiti galette. This one, first of all, The pregnant ladies, they eat it like medicine. It's like a kind of medicine they ate.
It's not just any old mud. This is a special mud. Where does it come from?
And this one is a special mud. They bring it from the central department. Mix it with water, and they put some salt, and sometimes they put a cube of Maggi on it.
So the reality of the situation is, this is something that poor people do eat, but even in better times, people eat. Is that true?
Exactly. It's like something they eat every day, like bread, like you're eating bread every day. For them, it's the same.
Malawi is one of the poorest countries in Africa. In 2006, the government of Malawi launched the Social Cash Transfer Program. Currently, the program provides a monthly contribution of $14 to more than 26,000 households. The program has two clear objectives: to fight hunger and poverty and to help families send their children to school. Delia lost her husband to HIV/AIDS. She's also HIV positive. She has one child and is responsible for 4 others who lost their parents to the same disease.
The project has really changed my life. Before this, I had literally nothing. Now things are better. Until now, I didn't have any good clothes, and my children didn't have any good clothes. As for food, well, that was really a big problem for me.
Thanks to the cash transfers, Delia can now afford school uniforms, books and pencils for all the children. As well as helping families with everyday expenses, cash transfers also promote productivity at home and on the farm. If delivered regularly, cash transfers can play a key role in strategies to improve rural livelihoods and agricultural production, while stimulating economic and social development. And that's the focus of the collaboration between FAO, UNICEF, and the governments of Malawi and 6 other African countries. They are working together on a project known as P2P, the From Protection to Production project.
The Social Cash Transfer Program supports the ultra-poor and labor-constrained households to be able to engage in agriculture to produce for the growth and the well-being of their households.
Many households invest part of the money they receive in agricultural assets like tools, fertilizers, and pesticides. Another bonus is that beneficiary families can afford to hire relations or neighbors to work on their fields instead of their own children.
Poor parents, they are now able to send their children to school rather than taking their children to fields.
Studies show that the program helps the whole community, with 90 to 95% of all the money that is distributed being spent locally. Because program beneficiaries can afford more and better goods and services from local businesses. Social protection programs, when combined with other rural development interventions, help create paths out of poverty for the poorest of the poor.